Good morning, world. So today's theme is we fix it, we don't fight. No more labels. We do this together because we are one. We are one entity. We're the human race. We all have souls, we're all alive, we all have energy. Therefore, we're equal. And the second part of today is drinking my coffee because there's nothing like it. Just be a hero. Anyone can be a hero. Do good because it's just good. Don't do it for the glory. Don't do it for the views. This might have 0 views or 1 view, or it might get 1 million. It doesn't matter. The message is going to be exactly the same. Doesn't matter who's watching. Doesn't matter who's listening. The message is the same. It needs to get out. Now, you can say there's importance in spreading it. Absolutely. But here's the thing. If one person listens to this today or tomorrow or whenever I release it, and they resonate with it and they spread it, even if it's only a few things, the job is done. Success. That's how the battles are won. It's not one grand blow that happens. It happens slowly, piece by piece. And before the dark ones even know it, before the people who are exploiting and causing problems and suppressing information even get to that point of realizing what's actually happening, the battle was won. I'm going to tell this brief story about Lord of the Rings, about Frodo and Sam and why they were chosen to carry the ring. And the Dark One, Sauron, overlooked them because he was focused exclusively on the people who had power, the people who had influence, the people who had glory, who hailed from a specific family. And I'm not saying that myself or anyone else is not special. That's not at all what I'm saying. My point is, they're so focused on it has to be the people who have $1 billion, those are the threats. And they never think about the people just like you and I, who are just living their life every day, who are happy with simple things, who are already pleased with what they have, and they don't need a lot. And if you gave them ultimate power and they could create their own reality in their own dream world, they might be let's say they're a farmer in a small village in Westheim, and literally they get the ring or something that can create wishes like a genie, and they're like, well, you know what would be nice? But of course they're German, Bavarian accent. You know what would be nice is if I could have 2 cows instead of 1, and maybe a 3rd horse. The Dark One, the one who controls his power, is just in absolute disbelief that they could have anything, and that's all they wanted. Do you see how sometimes the people who have less and who are satisfied with less could be potentially the biggest threat? Because now with that, what can they do? Now they just want to do the mission. They just want to spread the message. They just want to do good. They're not doing it for the reward. They're not doing it for glory. They're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And that's the goal of today. That's the goal of enlightenment. Getting to a point where it doesn't matter who's watching. It doesn't matter who's listening. You don't pick up that trash because that piece of trash around the corner because you're going to get an accolade. You do it because it's the right thing to do, because you're making the world a little better today. You're not helping or holding the door open for someone because it's going to make you look good. You're doing it because it's going to make the other person feel a little better. And everyone's going through a daily battle. And if their battle gets slightly more in their favor just because of your action, you won. Now they can do the same thing for someone else. And that is the whole logic of becoming one. One human race, one species, one entity, is that literally if I help you and you help someone else, they can help me. But there's no expectation of it. It's just we're all helping each other just naturally. But we have to get there. And how do we get there? We have to eliminate the dark things that are stopping it. There's a lot that I've already talked about, and I'm going to be editing the videos that I've done and releasing them here shortly, but you can watch the previous streams if you want. But the world works differently than we think, and I don't expect you to believe me 100%. I don't want you to just take it at face value. I want you to understand the underlying lessons that I'm talking about. I want you to really focus on, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should experiment. Maybe I should consider this and see what happens. You know, maybe you hear something like, yeah, right. But then the rest of the day, you try experimenting with some of the things that I said. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. Your life might change. But what if you don't see anything? You don't notice anything. You don't see any patterns or repeating behaviors. So you're like, this guy's full of crap. That's perfect, you know, because then that means that I'm not right, but now you started thinking about it. Now you started questioning it. So that's where I want to start today. Of course, with a sip of coffee first, so cheers. So I'm sure everyone's familiar with the concept of the plagues from Moses and the Exodus story and things of that nature. So that's what's happening here. We are creating a plague. We don't mind being the villain. Because, again, it's dark motivation with light actions. We're teaching people how the world works from our experience. Again, we might not be correct, but now people can start evaluating it against their own experience. And what we're going to find out is, or most people find out, is once they realize it's not just them, everything clicks. Wait, that happened to you too? Oh my gosh, everyone said I was crazy. You mean I'm not? No, you're not. Everything changes at that point. And when that happens, people start questioning things. What happens when people start questioning things? Things change. Hey, why do we wear socks with sandals? Just there's nothing wrong with that, right? But just as an example. Well, actually, maybe your feet feel better when you don't wear socks with sandals. And someone tries it out and like, wow, actually you're right. You see, like, questioning leads to progress. And it doesn't always mean that it's going to be for the better, but we can actually start seeing it. Does it always have to be this way? Is there a reason to change? So all of this that I'm talking about is we're creating a plague that's spreading. And it's a plague of love, of peace, of hope, of giving people new energy, of new passion, of actually understanding that, wait a minute, I don't have to be a slave to my corporate overlords. I don't have to listen to my boss who's literally gaslighting me every single day to think that if I quit, I can never get another job. Yet I have so much more experience than when they first hired me, and I literally do everything at the company I work at. So wait a minute, I really don't have any value? Oh, you see, like, all it takes is for one person, for them to snap out of it, of the brainwashing and the mind control that certain people and entities have done. And that's the purpose of this. So we're going to talk about a lot of things that might confuse you, that might inspire you. All I ask is have an open mind. Just listen. Don't take any of it as fact. Consider it. Could it be true? How could it be that this is my experience? Could it be that I'm living a completely different world than everyone else? 100%. But what if even half of the things that I'm experiencing, you're experiencing? Do you see? And maybe you just viewed it the wrong way. How many times have we walked past the same area on the street or in a nature park and we never noticed something, but finally one day we decided to actually come in from the opposite angle and we're like, wait a minute, there's graffiti on that tree? I've walked past that tree for 7 years and I've never noticed graffiti. And it actually was a message written by like your girlfriend. And it said like, hey, I love you. I know you liked walking the nature trail, so this is for you. And she got sad that you never saw it. But it was there this entire time. That is happening. at a massive scale around the world right now. There's so many things that people are just simply not aware of, and that's not your fault. On the contrary, there are forces, factions, people, spiritual entities that are literally intentionally stopping it, suppressing it, causing problems. And once you can accept that there might be people actually trying to suppress things, all of a sudden you become open to, wait a minute, why? Why would anyone want me not to be loving? Why do people not want me to help others? Why do people want me to exploit people? Wait, why do we have to work so much? Wait, why don't we just have shelter given to us? Why do we have to pay for something that's necessary for survival? Do you see? You see how like all of a sudden just asking the right questions and having someone just look to the left and be like, wait a minute, could be all it takes. And now if they bring that back to their families, their homes, their friends, and they can even just get one other person to feel the same way, what could happen to this world? How far could we go? How much evolution, how much progress, how much hope could be created? But they call me the villain because I'm doing this. Let them. Because I know what my actions are trying to accomplish. So with that, I ask you, do you think that if you believe you have impact or you're doing good, just the simple concept of belief, will you do more? What do you guys think?